Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Outdoors with Geoff. Before we light the coals for today's cook, take a minute and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be notified of any new content that comes to the channel. What's up barbecue crew? Welcome back to Outdoors with Geoff. Today's a little bit of a special episode. We're going to be doing our first cook on the Char-Griller Akorn. We want to send a special thanks to CharGriller for sending that unit out to the channel. We're going to definitely use that for some great cooks and to create some great content and to get some great flavor profiles and different cooking techniques out to you guys as well. I've already done the initial burn off on the Akorn. So for our first initial cook, we're going to be doing some thick cut Cowboy ribeye steaks. So we're going to keep it simple here. We're going to go with a good steak seasoning, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to add a little bit of a barbecue flavor to this thing. And we're going to do that by incorporating FiestaBrands Uncle Chris Gourmet Steak Seasoning. This steak seasoning has a lot of flavors that you see in the garlic pepper seasoning, but it's got some added notes with some bell peppers and different things that kind of take it to the next level. Afterward, we're going to come back with a barbecue flavor, and that's going to be Heath Riles Sweet Barbecue Rub. This is a great all-purpose rub. Has a lot of barbecue notes that you see in it with the sugar and paprika and salt and things of that nature. And that's really going to give us a good little flair when it comes to taking this over the top. Now we're going to be reverse searing these steaks, and we're going to start them low and slow at 250 degrees and take them all the way up until an internal temperature of 115 degrees. Now, when it comes to the reverse sear, we're going to be doing two different methods here. We're going to be searing on the grate, and then I'm also going to be searing another steak on a cast iron pan, just to see the difference that we get versus a crust and what type of flavors we can draw from that. We're also going to be basting these steaks in a little bit of a butter mixture that has both of these seasonings mixed in to give it some extra flavor. Enough talking, let's get to the cook. So for today's cook, we're going to be using B&B Oak Lump Charcoal and Hickory Wood Chunks. So we're starting with 2 Angus Choice Cowboy ribeye steaks. And here I'm using a little olive oil as a binder for both steaks. And I'm just going to rub that in on both sides to make sure we get some good adhesion from our rubs and seasonings. And next, I'm putting on a good coat of the FiestaBrands Uncle Chris's Gourmet Steak Seasoning. And over top of that, we're putting a good coating of the Heath Riles Sweet Barbecue Rub. Make sure you get a good heavy coat of that and get a good pat in on both sides. And this is what our steaks look like after a good 30-minute rest. I can't stress the importance enough of making sure you get a good rest on your meats before you get them on the smoker. And the Akorn is holding steady at 250 degrees, so it's time to get ready for the next phase of the cook. So I've already added the hickory chunks to the coals, so we're getting some good clean smoke and some good flavor already. I'm also inserting a couple of probes so we can monitor internal temps. And while these steaks start to cook, we're going to go ahead and prepare our seasoned butter. This is really simple basting butter. I'm starting with a whole stick of butter and 1 heaping tablespoon of the Uncle Chris's Gourmet Steak Seasoning and another good tablespoon of the Heath Riles Sweet Barbecue Rub. And I'm taking that and just putting it on the grill with the steaks as well. And we cooked for about 45 minutes, and now you can see we've hit our internal temperature of 115 degrees. So it's time to go ahead and get these bad boys off. Here's what the steaks look like after coming off the grill. And for the next phase of the cook, we're going to get ready to sear. So I'm going to go ahead and open my bottom vent all the way and do the same thing with the top vent. And after about 8 minutes, we were sitting at a little over 600 degrees, so I knew we were going to hit our 650 degree mark. So I went ahead and got ready to go ahead and start this sear process. So I've also had this cast iron pan preheating on the grill as well. So this thing is screaming hot, and it's going to give us a great sear and a good crust on this steak. And here I'm coming back and starting to baste these steaks with that butter, and that's going to add more flavor and give us a little bit of flame up as well. And it's been about a minute thus far, and getting a good quarter turn on that steak. And now it's time to flip the cast iron steak. And this is why I love cooking over charcoal. And this is the end result. All right, guys, that was a cook. That was a great cook. I wasn't expecting that rainstorm out of anywhere. That completely threw me off. And did overshoot on the temp a little bit. Was looking to come in at about 130 degrees. Came in at about 139. But hey, I was willing to sacrifice a steak instead of having to go out and buy a new camera. So. But a couple things, I can tell both of these steaks are going to be great. This steak right here was done on the cast iron, and this was done right on the grate. So this is the cast iron pan, and this is the grate. And they both look great. They both smell great. And this is the thing I talk about when I talk about live fire cooking and getting over coals, where you get the extra bits of char and everything else that has that adds that next level of flavor to the cook. So I'm really happy with these. Just a quick recap, we did a salt brine on these steaks for about 15 minutes before we started. And then we set the acorn at 250 degrees. We ran with B&B Lump Charcoal, and we used a couple of hickory wood chunks in there, and we took them to an internal of 115 degrees. And after that, we took them off. We also had our seasoned butter that we made with a stick of butter, and the FiestaBrands Uncle Chris's Gourmet Steak Seasoning, and the Heath Riles Sweet Barbecue Rub. We pulled the steaks after they reached their internal of 115, and then we opened up the vents on the acorn, and we got up to the temperature of 650 degrees to sear. And then we put the steaks back on. We put one in the cast iron pan and the other one on the grate, and we basted both of them with the butter that we had made. And the rainstorm came, we had to shut down production. So this is where we're at. So the only thing left is a taste test. And I'll say it again, this is where flavor is at. When you can get to a point when you're getting a good reverse sear or a good sear in general, and you got that good crust, the sugars in this rub caramelized, and everything just came together to get a great crust. So this is the point where everything comes together. And this is what I talk about when I talk about getting a good reverse sear, and especially getting over some open coals and some flames, where you'll have your sugars in the rub to caramelize, and you'll get an excellent crust. And then you have a tender piece of meat with it as well, that's seasoned well. This is what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and get to this taste test. This one is the one that was done in the cast iron pan. That's where it's at, right there. Tastes great, good crust. You can taste the individual seasonings and the coarseness of those seasonings in that Uncle Chris's Gourmet Steak Seasoning. You also get the sweet from this rub. Excellent crust on that. And this is the one that was done straight on the grate. No, that's good. Now that steak right off the grate tastes excellent as well. Same thing, you still got a bit of that crust and overall good blend of the seasonings together. And to be honest, I can't tell that much of a difference, but I'd say I'm getting a little more flavor out of this cast iron grilled steak right here. But this one is excellent too. I love it. But guys, that's all I got for today. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of the cook, and let me know what method you prefer. If you prefer a good cast iron steak, or if you prefer straight over the grates when it comes to your sear. Shout out to Tom down in Florida. I'm glad that brisket came out great, and your neighbor's gonna keep coming to your house for brisket now. It's a pretty good problem to have. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, guys, thanks for watching this episode of Outdoors with Geoff. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications when more content comes out. And also check out these videos here on the channel as well.